We'll be following our usual format, which is we have both people on Zoom and people here in the room. And just a reminder, we're going to go through with the questions on the floor first for Coach, and we'll take questions from Zoom. After that, please raise your hand, and I'll call on you. And then we have Quentin Jackson and Andrew Holloway here will be here as well. Just a couple schedule notes just to touch on this first busy week. Thursday night, soccer kicks off. They've got Oklahoma State here at 6 o'clock, and then they're actually going to be in Lafayette as well. They're going to play Louisiana at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Volleyball has their opening action, the Rice Invitational 1. Play number 9 A&M on Friday at 6 p.m. and then wrap that up on Sunday against Central Arkansas. And lastly, cross country, women's cross country will be up in Nacogdoches for the Lumberjack Collegiate to get their season off. And I think everybody here's already got their credentials. If there's anybody online that's local, make sure you stop in. We got your credentials ready for you. At point, I'll bring up Coach.
Well, good morning, everybody. And those are
recording in progress.
Always good to know when they're recording. But welcome back to campus, everyone. Excited week one here. And, with that, I'm just going to open it up to questions for you guys.
First question, Coach, how does it feel?
Coach, first question, starting the season, how are you feeling? Are you anxious? What do you think?
Well, I think for me, it feels like opening week, each and every year, right? You're excited. You want to see your team compete against someone other than themselves. And so for me, it's very familiar feeling, right? 30-some years of doing this, right? Week one for everyone around the country is an exciting time for your program, right? It's an exciting time to see all the work you put in the offseason for that now to take place on the field and to then begin to see, where's your program go from there, right? I think everyone knows week one, you don't know what you're going to see from your opponent. It's a guessing game, how much you grow from week one to week two. And so I think week one for everybody, it's kind of like Christmas morning, right? You're showing up, you're not sure what your grandparents got you, right? And what's that going to feel like when you actually see the presents under the tree, when you unwrap them. And so that's what it feels like for me each and every year. Week one, it's the start of a new season, a new team, and a new era of Rice football. So, the different level of excitement now comes with, leading Rice football and understanding how honored I am to do that. And I think our players get that. I think our program gets that. And, we're just so excited to get on the field to compete. That's really what we're looking forward to.
What are the strengths of Louisiana's offense? What have they shown? And I guess with that, a lot of new personnel. So how do you plan that with not knowing as much as you may in the middle of the year against an opponent?
Well, I think college football holistically has become a guessing game week one, right? And I'm sure Louisiana feels the same way, right? We're a new staff, transitioning, new offense, new defense, new coordinators. But with so much roster change in college football year in, year out now, it does become a little bit more of a guessing game. And like everyone, we've done our research. We've looked up every film possibility we could find, whether it's in Huddle from a high school film review or it's in PFF from their previous school to really try to narrow down their personnel to see if we think it may look similar to years past from the coordinators. Things we know, right? I think they have a really talented roster. I think guys that return that are talented, their running back core is really good. We'll see how they lean on them early in the year as they, once again, introduce a new quarterback to their system who's a really talented guy, one of the highest rated quarterbacks coming out of Louisiana. Now he's back home. And so other than that, we don't know a whole lot. Like they don't know a whole lot about what to expect out of us as well. And so for us, I think it's more important we focus on the things that our DNA is going to be about. How do we play what we've worked on so hard on in every unit to the best of our ability? And that's really what you want to see out of your whole team week one. How do we execute the things we've worked on consistently from day one and minimize our mistakes? Because we can control that. And that's going to be a key point in this game.
And then we talked about this as a culmination of months and finally getting on the field. How do you stress the importance of this game to your team? And then at the same time, not get them too amped up because we got, 12, 13, 14 more of these.
Well, I think some of that's going to take care of itself, right? I mean, no matter what I say, the energy is going to be real, right? The excitement's going to be there, and you want it to be there. But at the same time, for us, right, I think we have opportunity to play loose. I think we have the opportunity to be excited. I mean, let's be clear. Louisiana's a 10-win team from last year, opening up a brand new stadium. My guess is expectation, for what they're feeling are probably a little more anxious than what we're feeling. We're excited to play football. We're excited to now put everything we've installed to work and see what it looks like. At a very hostile environment on the road. I think all the pressure's on them. I think for our guys, man, hey, let's put the shoes on, let's lace them up, let's tie them, and let's go have some fun. Let's get after it and compete. And that's what I want to see.
And then since we chatted last time, announced a new starter quarterback and said you had a couple positions that you wanted to solidify that depth chart before Louisiana. How do you feel those kind of last couple of roster battles worked out this past couple of weeks?
Well, I think they worked out the way you would expect them as a head coach, right? The guys who consistently show up, who put quality film together for their coaches to look at, are guys that are winning positions. We talk about that daily in our program. Put yourself on tape. Make it so obvious to your coach, to your side of the football, to your unit, that you're invaluable to what we do. And those are the guys that are winning jobs inside the program. But holistically, I think we'll play a lot of guys on roster, Saturday. I think as I think a lot of people will around the country week one, keeping legs fresh. And for us, it's really an opportunity to now take that next step of how we're building our program, growing our culture, take it against someone else besides ourselves.
And then when you look at Louisiana on defense, the caveat of who's going to be on the field, notwithstanding, how do you adjust your offense depending on their defensive strengths? Is there much of change in your mind, or is it kind of, here's what we do, we're going to run it?
Yeah, well, for me, incredibly comfortable going into each week, not really sure what we're going to see, right? When you're, a little unique offensively, game plans are unique against you. That is nothing new to me. I mean, that is so how I feel week one is how I'm going to feel week 9 after I have film on somebody, because how someone defends the previous week's offense is not going to look like how they defend us. So, to me, these adjustments will be the same as I look at each and every week, and our offensive staff will do the same. And, I think the thing I want to see is, the things we've worked on both sides of the football in our units with the new offensive scheme coming here, right? Really new defensive scheme in Coach K is, how does it grow now, right? I've said this offensively since I got here. Every step of the way, this offense has taken on a little different identity. It's grown. It's evolved. And so we're excited to watch it evolve here, and we're going to see some of that on Saturday, right? We're going to get a taste of how we can evolve. Excited for that. And I think defensively, Coach K feels the same way, right? There's some differences, right? He's leading a defensive unit that was led by someone else last year, and he's excited about that and his vision of what our defense should look like, and how that's going to evolve now under him is exciting for everybody.
With Quentin and Andrew here, can you discuss them, what they've meant, seeing them here in the workouts and seeing the tape from them and what you expect from them?
Yeah, for both of them, I think the qualities are incredibly similar, right? They're guys who show up every day, right? They put themselves on tape, being elite at what they do every day. And they're just such great locker room guys, right? When you talk about building a culture, that culture starts in the locker room, right? It doesn't start on the game field. It doesn't start on the weight room. It starts in that locker room. And these are two guys that when you walk around a locker room and you talk to the rest of our roster, you know exactly how they feel about these two guys, right? Everybody looks up to them. Everyone knows what type of quality person and what type of quality player they Andrew brings such a level of maturity into an older defense anyway, but he brings a level of maturity with his experience here, and Q-Jack is just each and every day grown in his ability to lead us. And I couldn't be prouder of each of them and what they've done through camp and how they've helped us get to here we are week one, ready to go compete against someone else. And, we say it all the time, your best teams are player-led teams. And, these are just two examples of that.
Coach, I know you worry more about your team than the other team, but I just want to ask you from on paper standpoint, what concerns you the most and what you've seen about their defense, about Louisiana's defense? I have another question.
Yeah, I think for me, what jumps off the film at me, right? I think they play fast, they're physical, right? They take pride in that. So game speed, right? We rep that in some game situation and compete periods and inter-squad scrimmages, but there's nothing quite like game tempo. No matter how hard you work at it, no matter how many compete periods you do, no matter how many game situations, game speed is different. And so, how quick do we adjust to that? I think is important offensively, but that's what jumps off the table. I think they have some really talented players. I think they put themselves in a really good situation to be successful, play in and play out defensively for their strengths. I think they're long on the edges, right? I think they're big inside. So I say their D line, at least as you watch film from the past, has been a strength for them. Last year, I think they're really talented secondary wise. They've gotten some transfers in that we've been able to watch film from other programs. Brought some talented guys in. How do they mesh together, right? In the back half of that's certainly probably where they graduated more players than not in the back half or lost them in the portal. But I think they're well coached. I think they play fast, they play hard, and that's the challenge that we're faced with.
Well, they have to deal with Q-Jack. So can you kind of talk about him and the kind of speed and what he brings? He's a little different.
He is a little different. No, in all the right ways, right? And for me, when you think about a Scott Abell-led offense, you typically don't think about that very versatile running back that Q-Jack is. He's a very versatile guy, right? He can go out and line up a receiver, and you can involve him in your passing game. He can hit your inside zone and take it to the house from 90, right? But when people think about an offense and watch film on what a Scott Abell offense is, they probably think more of a downhill guy. Well, he's incredibly multiple. He's a guy that can get on the edge, he can be involved in the passing game, and he can be a downhill guy. And man, that's a really nice thing for any offense. And so he brings a lot of tools to that unit. Now how do we utilize all those tools, right? To make everything around him execute at a high level.
All right, we're going to take a few questions from Zoom. Dan McDonald, who will be calling the game on ESPN Plus, has his hand up first, and then we'll go to Steve Helwick and then Richard Dean. Go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, Chuck. And Coach, thank you for taking the time with us. Apologies if you've been asked this question a dozen times probably. But what was it about Chase Jenkins that led you to make that final decision at the quarterback? Was it physical skills? Was it something else?
Well, I think it's probably a combination of a lot of things. I think first, his ability to really utilize his legs and his arm to hurt defenses, I think made a big impression on us. His ability to escape, to really make something out of nothing, I think is important in every offense, and ours is no different. And the fact that, he's comfortable in the system. He played in a similar system coming out of high school. He was a quarterback recruited here. The first play I watched Chase before I even arrived on campus was he was playing quarterback against East Carolina and broke a run touchdown. And I immediately had to go. I figured he graduated. Like, I'm just watching film. And this is actually before I got hired. And then saw him on the roster as a receiver. And so that was an exciting moment for me to say, okay, there's a guy that, has done something like what I do in the past at the high school level. And so I think all of that combined with, his enthusiasm and excitement that he brings to the offense, you can see that in his teammates, right? They get excited with Chase under center. They get excited of what he's capable of doing inside this offense. And so you put all that together, right? Then he's named starter, and we're excited about that, right? And our job is now to take some of that pressure off of him, guys like Q Jack, guys around him, to make this transition for him a little better for him on Saturday, a little easier.
If I could ask one more quickly, I was watching an ESPN 30 for 30 about the creation of the wishbone the other night, and it was talking about Texas getting popped a few times early when they first put the offensive in. Will there be some growing pains for your guys?
I think, I think growing pains are a part of this. I call them potholes. I use this analogy a lot with our players. Like, their potholes are out there, right? And our job is to avoid those as best possible. And our job is also, hey, when we hit them, we got to make sure we're prepared so we don't bottom out. We don't do a lot of damage. And I think that's the key. I don't think the key is that there won't be an occasional moment where, we go, okay, there's a learning curve here. I think those are inevitable with anyone starting a new quarterback this year. No, I mean anyone, not just including ourselves. Anyone who's transitioning a quarterback in their system, I think there's some learning lesson, growing pains. Our job is how do we minimize those so they don't turn into something bigger than just one moment.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Okay, Steve Helwick, you're up next.
Hi, Coach. Is there traditionally with scout team offenses on you, are there any kind of challenges in trying to mimic offenses that are so different from yours and scout teams such as Louisiana's?
Oh, no, not at all. We understand football. I understand a lot of offensive schemes. And so we have a lot of talented guys that can line up and do other offensive schemes and give a great look. And that's our coach's job to make sure that we're doing that day in and day out. And I think our staff's done an amazing job, one thing that has really helped in the evolution of the offense, which I get a ton of questions about, is, the move to go to a gun option, read zone, gun choice, as we name it. Now it's been 15 years ago. Had a lot to do with how does it help the entire program, right? Our defense is going to see some type of read zone every week, right? They're going to see some type of RPO. Our guys are very comfortable. They're going to get great looks at that. And now it's our job to show them the other side that maybe we don't utilize day in, day out inside the offense. So I think our guys have done a great job of giving a look to, as we prepare for Louisiana, and that will be our staff's, job each week to make sure we're preparing our defense for the looks they need to see.
Okay, Richard?
Yeah. Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. You kind of answered some of this with Dan's question, but I just wanted to ask you about the offense. And you mentioned how, it evolves over the years and everything. New offense put in this year. Are you pleased with how it's progressing? Is it in a timely fashion where you expect it to be at this time of the season?
I am pleased. Coming out of spring football, thought we were maybe a little behind in installation, though I thought spring football went really well. We just slowed it down, made sure our guys understood really the base attack that we needed them to understand. But, the summer, the fall camp, we've been really able to accelerate and really look at some of the things that we wanted to look at that we thought the offense could evolve to with skill sets that we have in our program. And so with that said, I feel we're very much on pace where I thought we'd be right now as we head into week one, maybe slightly ahead.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach. We'll call Quentin Jackson up.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Go Owls.
How's it going?
All right, Quentin, I guess we'll start When you're evaluating an opponent that you've played not too recently, can you take anything from the time these two teams met 2 years ago?
You just kind of look at the coaching staff and see who was there when we previously played them. That was like my freshman year, felt ages ago, but you can't really pay no mind to it. You try to just look at the most recent film, just look at the players they have. And what I've seen from Louisiana, they're going to play hard. They're going to fly to the ball. They're very athletic. So you just want to look at the most recent film, see what type of personnel they have this year, and just try to work with what you have.
And then when you come into this, hostile road environment, people are going to be excited. You got a lot of young guys around you. How much are you thinking that when you get in that huddle of that leadership role and how you keep everything steady amidst all the noise?
For the leadership role, it's just keeping everybody calm and poised. It's going to be hardships, like Coach said, potholes. But how do we limit the potholes and how do we stay positive in the locker room? I mean, in that huddle, we know it's going to be loud, new stadium, new turf, new everything. So we know it's going to be a loud crowd. So how do we stay positive? How do we limit the potholes, and how we just keep progressing and moving forward and scoring touchdowns?
And then from your perspective, can you tell us what you've seen out of Chase Jenkins, how he's kind of grown through the spring and into camp, and what we can expect?
Chase is like a brother to me. Came in mid-year and early enrollee. So when I was a freshman, he was a freshman as well. But I think growing as a leader, you can see him. He's having fun. He has joy on his face, and I'm just happy for him. People get to see what I see every day in practice: his speed, his excitement for the game of football, the excitement to run this offense. So I'm just happy for Chase and glad he's leading us. And I'm willing to do anything for my quarterback for sure.
Talk about playing in that offense.
It's exciting. One thing I'm excited about is just the ability that everybody gets to touch the ball and showcase their talents. It's just not worried about focus on one player or just one player, like I said, but everybody gets to have a role in this offense, and I'm very excited about that. And like Coach Abell said, I'm very versatile, so I feel like I can really catch the ball out of the backfield, or if I need to get the 1 yard on 4th and 1, I can. So I'm just very excited that Coach Abell trusts me to be able to run this offense.
You're opening up on the road, right? Would you prefer? Do you care about that? Does that make any difference to you?
I don't think it's making a difference. It's just going out there and playing football with your brothers. So it's just a different environment. It's going to be hostile and things like that of that nature. But really just excited for playing a different opponent. You're going against the defense every day, the same defense every day. So it's just good to see somebody in a different jersey. It really doesn't matter for home or away. It's just another football game, and that's how we're going to treat it.
Question for a new team, new offense, on the road, new perspective. Kind of talk about that and how that kind of fires you up.
I think I'm fired up just going out there and playing with my teammates. It's been a long time coming. It's been, remember Coach Abell's introduction, I was just fired up hearing what he had to say and how he's going to change the culture of the program, which he has. So I think for us, it's just keeping the same mentality, going in there, taking one play at a time, trying to limit the mistakes. And when the mistakes happen, just being calm and staying true to who we are. And that's winning everything with everyone, wherever that is. So just taking one play at a time and not letting the bad moments dictate where we're going.
It's been a few months, but what's been like adapting to a new offense, but also so many relatively new coaches that you're hearing from?
I think the new coaching staff did a great job of making this offense really easy to learn. Coming from a pro style to this offense is a big difference, a big change. But I think the whole coaching staff really came in and really got us to buy in really quickly. And like Coach Abell, I mentioned this many times, Coach Abell was a big relationship guy, and that goes down to his whole staff. Their office is always open. I can go up there. I was just up there earlier talking to Coach Wilson and Coach Lindbergh. So their office is always open if you have questions, personal questions, or just football questions. So the new staff came in, really opened their office to us, opened their arms, and just gave us the trust that we needed.
Hey, Dan, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you, Quint, for being here. Quick question. When you first heard that Coach Abell was hired, I know you probably went and looked at what his former school was doing. What was your first reactions? Was it like, oh my gosh, what are we about to get into?
I remember my first reaction. I remember me and Landon were in class, and we got a ESPN report that we hired our new coach. We was like, what? But of course, we did our research, and it's bringing in a new style offense, and I was very excited for it. I'm excited for change, excited for trying something new. But when Coach Abell came in his first day, and you can really feel the enthusiasm and the excitement for running this offense. And his excitement to be here and that he wanted to be here and coach us. So I think that's what I'm very most excited about is having him being our leader, and excited for where he's going to take us in the future to come.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Steve.
As a running back, do your eyes light up when you see Davidson's rushing totals and just leading the country and rushing at the FCS level?
Of course, for sure. That means he trusts the running back room. I think we have the room to do that. I think everybody in that room is starters in D1 level here. So I think just having everybody getting the ball and everybody having fresh legs, I think that's very exciting. He led the nation in rushing. I think that's something we take pride in. We want to keep that tradition going, so that's what we break it down on. Nora just trying to be the number one rushing attack in the country. So I think we take a lot of pride in that and just want to continue that tradition for Coach Abell.
And also, you've mentioned Chase being like a brother earlier in this call and Landon. What's it like to install this new offense together with a lot of the guys that you played under the pro style offense with, rather than really taking in a bunch of transfers?
I think it's exciting. You came in with them and you're still here. So I was very nervous about them leaving, or not just them per se, or just people leaving, but I'm glad everybody stayed and, building this thing together. We came in together and we came here wanting to win a championship, and that's still a goal of ours. And I think that's right in front of us if we can just take the right steps. And I'm just glad everybody's here and we're building the same culture, building a new culture and building a stronger culture so we can eventually win a conference championship.
Thank you, Quentin.
All right, thank you, guys.
Andrew.
What's up? How y'all doing?
We'll start with Louisiana. You played them 2 years ago. How much of anything can you draw from that film with both teams being so different?
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, especially defensively, it comes down to be more physical, be a physical defense, wrecking the decision maker, being the disruptor up front. It feels all the same thing as a defense. Any defense is that, especially first game, that some mistakes going to happen. But at the end of the day, who more physical is really who wants it more. It's going to make a difference from what we did 2 years ago versus what we're going to do this week.
And we talked about all the change that's happened with this program during the offseason. How do you kind of just block out those noise by the time you get to the field and just focus on the guy in front of you?
Well, Coach K really tells us to just really, it's all about focusing, keeping our poise this week. I feel that's the main thing that we're going to focus on this week is just worry about what we got going on, not worry about the outside noise, what other people think, because that's just distractions. At the end of the day, what you put on tape is your resume. So we're just going to focus on what we're going to put on tape this week.
You woke up this morning realizing you have a game Saturday. What was the thoughts running through your head?
Man, I woke up this morning and I'm thinking it's my last everything, last first game, final year season. I've been here for 16 years, as Matt said. So, I'm just a blessing, I'm excited, especially with everything new going on, team just off season just been really great. You really felt people got stronger, faster, bigger. Thanks to Coach Lou, all them hard workouts, man. Still reminiscing about, it was hard, but we all used to it now. It shows up on the field, shows up on tape, the way we're going to play differently this year than years in the past. So I'm really excited to be able to play on Saturday, with my homeboys, my guys, who are really rocking with. So I'm really excited about that.
Coach K, defensive coordinator now. Is that an easy transition? I know nothing's ever easy, but having a guy that was your position coach, now your DC, is that an easy process?
Shoot, yeah, honestly, Coach K, he was a linebackers coach, so I already knew how he's going to be like. He's a great guy, smart coach, just everything you want to coach, players coach, yet focus. He knows the X's and O's as well. Ask for my input, what I think about this. Oh, how do you feel about this? Running the defense, or what do you think about this idea? Giving us player input and coming back to us and reevaluating. All about the data, what we put on the field, how we can change it, make it easier, or easier to understand or easier to run. Always changing up things, to really benefit us players. So it's really been good with Coach K.
Obviously, his position changed from linebackers coach to DC. What was the biggest difference you saw in him when that change happened?
Biggest difference I would say is the way he stepped back a little bit. Coach J Mac, assistant linebackers coach, really helps us, leads us on our ND throughout practice, helps us with technique. Coach K will add in what he thinks about certain things and stuff. But at the end of the day, we working we're watching film with our assistant coach J Mac. He'd be in the back room watching, giving his input. But it's really just the way he is, like when he stepped up, he stepped back a little bit. So it's like now he's like an overseer of things. So it's just different in that aspect. But it's still great. Learned a lot from Coach J Mac. Taught us linebackers a lot of things. Make us play different. We're gonna play differently this year than we did years in the past. So it's just great to have some insight, especially since he was a linebacker as well. To help us really do well, be a proper linebacker at D1 college level.
Dan, you had a question?
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for being here first. With all the changes that the offense went through, I know y'all had some changes on the defensive side also, but do you feel like the defense has to be sort of a stabilizing influence to give the offense time to sort of, catch themselves?
Oh yeah, obviously, we have older guys in the defense. So we've been here for, a while, have a little, what we already got going on defensively. So we're just gonna be them guys, help show offense the way. Offense also gonna rock back with us, happens during spring ball, defense have a good day. We feeling ourselves. Next time they coming back, they rocking us, and now they building their own thing. They have to going on for themselves. So defense, we got our own identity, how we do things, and offense to start building their own culture, how they do things as well. So it's really nice to bounce back off of each other. I'm really excited what the offense gonna do this Saturday. How we gonna rock with them, how we're gonna be with them every step of the way.
Appreciate it.
Anything else from anybody? Thank you, Andro.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. We'll be in touch on game day. Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Okay. I'm guessing. Did you say it?
Not yet. It's supposed to be coming Thursday.
I won't be out today. Okay. Planning tomorrow. That's the plan. Is that what I got for the table? Oh, sorry, going in my head.
All right, Jim.
Thanks for coming, Nate.
Yes, sir.
Like you had choice.
Yeah.